What's going on, you crazy gun nuts? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to take a look at some AK patterned rifles. Some people are going to say that's not an AK-47, and you're right, it's an AKM or a derivative of an AK. But here we have the Galil Ace Gen 2, chambered in 7.62-39, and we also have the Arsenal. This is the SLR 107. It's chambered in 7.62-39 as well. Now, 15 years ago, this rifle was basically set up the way you see it, and this is how everybody ran their AKs. Here in modern times, especially in the United States, people have gotten more tactical with their rifles. So that's where you bring in the Galil Ace Gen 2. A lot of these are set up this way so you can put your red dots on it. You put backup sights, you can put flashlights or cup holders or coffee makers or spare tire holder, whatever you want on your AK platform. Now the Galil has a rail that goes almost out to the end of the barrel. It's got about 3 inches of barrel there that is not covered. But it also has a top rail that goes all the way down. And this being connected by 2 screws to the receiver is a really steady platform. If you were to put an aiming device on this, it would more than likely hold zero better than a free floated rail on an AR-15. And here you have just the basic AK platform. It has basically nothing but a set of 800-yard leaf sights and a front sight post. Neither of these rifles are chambered. Neither of these rifles are loaded. They've been safety checked before I put them on the wall. Now with the modern style of AK, it's a lot easier to add optics to it. It's a lot easier to add backup sights, where this does have sights. Unless you put a sight really low here or get the Ultimac rail and put a aim point style mount right here, you're going to have issues using your backup sights. Another thing I want to talk about with the Galil versus most AKs. Most AKs have a metric thread pitch for the barrel. This is a 14-1 left hand. This is a 5/8-24 in right hand. So this having more of a standard thread pitch, it's a lot easier to add a suppressor or different muzzle attachments to the Galil as opposed to the standard AK. I'll go ahead and pull this off the wall. This one does have a sight rail on the side, so if you wanted to add a sight mount, you can put your optic right here about where it would be at for a normal rifle that has a top rail on it. This rifle is also super light. It is a stamped receiver. It has plastic handguards and a plastic stock, and we have a P-mag in it, just because I think AKs do not look good without a mag in them. It's just, really helps the aesthetics. Now both platforms can take aftermarket triggers, and you can upgrade your trigger if you'd like, because I know this AK will probably, even though I haven't shot it yet, will probably have a lot of trigger slap. I get a little bit of trigger slap out of the Galil, but it's not too bad. Other AKs I've owned had bad trigger slap, and an aftermarket trigger does help in that quite a bit. Now this does have a cleaning rod in it, whereas the Galil does not have a cleaning rod. Another thing this does have that the other one doesn't is it's got a booty hole in the back of it. Back here it's got a little booty hole and a trap door, and you can put, it's kind of hard to get out. Sometimes it's easier to put a rifle round in that hole and pull down. So I can use my fingernail. Yep. And you can keep a cleaning kit in the back of your gun. That is one of the cool features of having the standard AK stock, is it does have a booty hole. And like I said, with weight, this is a very light rifle. It probably weighs about 5.5, 6 pounds the way it sits. It's going to weigh a lot more loaded. It's stamped receiver, so the stamped receiver is going to be a lot lighter than the milled receiver that the Galil has. Years back I had a Sam 7. It was an extremely heavy rifle also, because the Sam 7, which is also made by Arsenal, has the milled receiver as opposed to a stamped receiver. But a lot of that just has to do with your personal preference. Now, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to make this video was talking about what it would cost to get something like this set up the way it is. Right now I got a hollow sun on here. It's kind of a placeholder. I'm wanting to get a better optic for it, but I've got a few laying around. I just haven't gotten around to putting anything more on that. Now, both these rifles cost about the same. They're both, depending on where you look at, they're both anywhere from $1,600 to $1,800. And when you buy this, it comes equipped with this rail, and it has a top rail on top of it, and it comes with a folding stock, which I think is a very very nice setup the way you buy it. Now, if you want to get a dependable AK, here in the United States, as far as a brand new weapon, I think in my personal opinion, the Arsenals are probably about the best choice you can get without going super high end with like a Fuller build or one of the boutique AK companies. I think these are about the best way to go. And I know a lot of people like the Zastavas. I'm just not that big of a fan. It's just my personal opinion, I just like the Arsenals better. But if you wanted to set this Arsenal up similar to the Galil, it's going to cost you quite a bit depending on what you do. I know you can go budget with this, and I've even got a Zukov stock, and I've got the Zukov handguard from an older AK that I put together and just swap parts around on. I could throw that on here, but I don't want to put the Magpul furniture on this, because I think it deserves better than Magpul. But to get a rail that's solid on this, as solid as this, and a top rail on this, you got to change your dust cover, you got to change your handguard. And when you do that, that's going to cost you quite a bit of money to get quality stuff. I know Midwest Industries makes a nice set, which I've thought about trying to find myself or looking into. I really got my heart set on the Zenico. I would love to have a Zenico set on this, but those are really hard to find in the United States. When you do find them, they're super pricey. And I'm not wanting to spend a fortune on this gun and put stuff on it that I may not like, because I'm pretty spoiled by the Galil. One disadvantage the Galil does have is it has a plastic lower on it. They make an all steel handguard assembly where you can put whatever AK or AR grip you want on there, and that will make the Galil just that much more robust. And if you were to suppress both of these platforms, the one thing you're going to want to do is put an adjustable gas piston on it. I have not yet got an adjustable gas piston for the Galil yet. I do want to suppress it. I've got a suppressor for it that I can run on it. Now, the Surefire War Comp was on there when I got it. The guy couldn't find the original thread protector, so he just left it on there. Now, like on the Galil, the safety is also ambidextrous. You have a safety here, and you also have a safety on the other side. I will pull this off the wall. You can see this has a safety over here as well, where you can access it from your right thumb if you're a right-handed shooter, or most of the time I just kind of push back and forth on it. If I want to set the safety to turn it off, I just push forward and pull the trigger. To me, that's pretty nice, because that keeps me from having to come over here and flip something up or hit this little, because the Galil has a really small safety on that side, as opposed to that giant flag the AKs have. Like the AK's got just a huge flag on it, and there's different aftermarket safeties you can put on that have a notch for your bolt catch and whatnot. Now, I could have went out and shot these guns, but there are a metric shit ton of videos of people shooting AKs online. If you want to watch someone shooting an AK, there's other videos out there. I've done videos with AKs myself. But I just want to go over a few of the pros and cons of both. Like, the AK platform is just rock solid. Parts are somewhat interchangeable. Bolts are interchangeable as long as they headspace properly. The Galil is its own platform. Even though it's AK-esque, it is not a true AK. But in my eyes, it's one of the best 7.62 39 rifles you can get. The top rail on this does hold zero very well. It's got a notch up here in the front that the dust cover slides into, and this locks up like super tight. I have not lost zero running an optic on this on top of the dust cover. And like I said, to get the Arsenal up to the same standard as this, as far as having attachments on it, for what I'm going to want, is going to cost me anywhere between $700 and $1,000, depending on what I get, because I want to get a quality rail and I want to get a quality dust cover and a few other little things for it. And that will probably include putting a folding stock on it, because I do like having a folding stock on a rifle if I can. But again, those are just my opinions on the two rifles. You do what you want to do. I'm not sitting here telling you that you should do one way or the other, but if you're wanting a AK that is going to be rock solid and dependable, and don't want to get a American built Century for $500-600, which I wouldn't. I bought one years ago, and then I learned that they were quite trash. So, like, this is the bare minimum that I would have for the AK platform, and still consider it to be reliable and dependable and hold up in any type of situation or environment you would find yourself in. But let me know your thoughts on the two rifles and what you would do to either one of them or not do to either one of them. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, and let's take back our Second Amendment.